So listen to me, a talking pug, you see. If you get health insurance, preventive care is now free.
So sweet.
Enroll today.
All right, now it always appeared to me that this thing was a dog, but using pets to market the healthcare law to women, rough. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, and I want to do something a little different tonight and put, well, something in perspective tonight besides commercials, actually this whole healthcare law itself. It seems every day we are pelted with new information or commercials that either support what the president says, that things are getting better for the law, what Republicans say, that things are getting worse for the law. I have no agenda here. As someone who's had his own series of health issues, there's much to admire about this law, but then again, much not to. So fair and balanced, I hope what you'll find is a fair and balanced look at the Affordable Care Act to date. Okay, here's what's good. Coverage for pre-existing conditions, I think that's fine, wonderful. No more lifetime coverage caps. That's been a hassle for a lot of people. Great that they're gone. Kids can stay on their parents' policies through age 26. If you like your kids, that's terrific. Now, I think those are all good things. And even Republicans would tell you those are all admirable things. Here's the problem. They're not free things. Unfortunately, you have to pay for this stuff because, as I said when I was covering them, cooking up this law, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Now I think I could safely say it definitely is. As I said at the time, and we're finding out now, when you demand insurance companies cover an additional 30 million Americans and those with pre-existing conditions and removing those lifetime caps, it stands to reason that they're going to charge you for it. Now, I don't know why these 30 or 40% healthcare premium hikes are so shocking. And trust me, I am no apologist for insurance companies. I've had plenty of knockdown dragouts with them during my various health crises. Let's just say these guys are not charities, and that is being charitable. They're in this business to make money. So assuming they wouldn't pass along those added costs doesn't make sense. Never did, never will. That is chiefly what's bad, because that key point cascades down to a lot of other bad things that happen as a result. Premiums are skyrocketing. Companies are dumping coverage or cutting back on coverage because, well, they can't afford that coverage. 6 million Americans have lost their health plans as a result. That means that even allowing for the 2 million previously uninsured Americans, we are now told, are getting insured, at least 4 million fewer Americans have health insurance now. That's not the way it was supposed to go. The Congressional Budget Office now estimates the law will cut 2.3 million full-time workers by 2021, well more than the 800,000 initially estimated, namely because the law's costs are that onerous and getting increasingly so for employers. So bosses are cutting them, or at the very least cutting back their hours. Reports of huge disruptions in doctors' offices, patients being told they're not covered, patients insisting they are too covered. Look, these might very well be temporary issues, as the president says, but a healthcare website performing better isn't like the law you're navigating to is getting more appetizing. It's not. Young people are not signing up in the numbers they should. But again, the president says they will. I assume he is more privy to this kind of stuff than I am. But then again, he also said if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. And we've all come to find we can't. So he does have some credibility issues on that one. Still, I think his heart is in the right place. It's just that we're the ones shelling out the good bucks for that good heart. And that's how all of this comes down. A healthcare law that promises utopian benefits for everyone, but understates the rocketing costs for almost everyone. Because here ultimately is what's happening, my friends. Good intentions are yielding a lot of bad things. Companies dropping coverage, young people opting out of coverage, insurance companies suspending coverage. Now the trajectory could change. More could sign up, but not enough, and certainly not enough for the right people. There is no doubt this law is good for folks who never had coverage. But there is also no doubt this law is bad for the overwhelming majority of people who did have coverage. They are paying more and getting less. So we've upended our entire healthcare system for the 90% of the people who were getting it to help the 10% who presumably were not getting it. And here is the ultimate kicker. Most of those uninsured ain't exactly signing up in droves, which leads me to this present conclusion. All this for what? Well, that's why I think these latest ads you're looking at featuring pets are really kind of barking up the wrong tree. Oh, sure, they're cute. But that doesn't make the law they're touting any less catastrophic. They are cute, though. And now we thought we'd try something a little different to flesh this out with an esteemed panel who've been watching this law and its rollout even more closely than I have. Emergency medicine doctor Leigh Vinocur, Next Generation TV correspondent Michelle Fields, Reason Foundation Director of Economic Research Anthony Randazzo, and a restaurant owner, a small business guy who has to pay the bills. Jimmy Hasslocher, doctor, let's start with you. I kind of laid out what I thought were the pros and cons, and that there are more cons at this stage and certainly more costs. The president hopes that curve will bend his way. Do you see it?
Well, you did elucidate pretty much most of the issues that there are with it. Of course, you know, we want everybody to have coverage, but what we've been saying, and as an ER physician, just because you have health insurance coverage doesn't mean you have health care. And the biggest issue that the Affordable Care Act doesn't address is that there's a physician shortage. So where does everybody end up? They end up in the ER. We saw it in Massachusetts when they enacted universal coverage. You've increased the demand, but you haven't increased the supply. And the other problem is it's still episodic care. People are coming to ERs, urgent care, so they're not getting the preventive care that the commercial was saying is free because you can't get preventive care in an ER. So that's another big issue. Expanding Medicaid. Even before the Affordable Care Act, a third of doctors weren't even taking new Medicaid patients. Now you're expanding it because they can't afford to take it. So who's going to cover these patients? And you're right. I mean, the young, invincible people, if there are no pre-existing conditions for this whole thing to sustain itself, you have to have healthy people and sick people all together. And if the healthy people are saying, forget it, I'm not going to buy insurance until I have a problem because there are no pre-existing conditions, it kind of falls in on itself.
Now,